All right, so Jeep is going all in on electric with the Recon, and this thing is supposed to be a true, hardcore, trail-ready EV. But, and it's a big but, there are some major questions hanging over it right from the start.
Which leads us to the biggest question of all, right? The one that every Jeep fan is probably thinking. Can an electric SUV really be a true Jeep? Can it give you that same feeling of freedom and adventure? Honestly, it's a massive gamble for the brand.
Well, if you ask Jeep CEO, the answer is a resounding yes. They're not positioning this as some kind of compromise. No, they're saying this is the next step, the evolution of everything that makes a Jeep a Jeep. It just happens to have a silent, electric heart.
Okay, so before we even talk about climbing over rocks or splashing through mud, Jeep's got a pretty big surprise up its sleeve with this one. Because this thing isn't just an off-roader, it's shockingly fast. Just look at this number. We're talking about 650 horsepower. 650. That's coming from 2 electric motors. For something that's supposed to be crawling over boulders, I mean, that's just a wild amount of power.
And all that power translates to, well, this. 0 to 60 in just 3.6 seconds. Let that sink in for a second. This big, boxy, off-road machine is quicker off the line than a whole lot of purpose-built sports cars. It's crazy.
And hey, if you need some context for just how fast that is, get this. The Recon is actually quicker than a BMW X5M. You know that monster SUV with a giant V8 engine? Yeah, this Jeep beats it. It's just not what you'd expect at all.
Okay, so it's fast. That's cool. But can it do the thing Jeeps are famous for? Can it actually handle the rough stuff? Let's dig into its off-road credentials. First off, it's got that famous trail-rated badge. And you should know that's not just some sticker they slap on for marketing, it's a promise. It means this vehicle has been put through Jeep's own absolute torture test. We're talking traction, waterfording, articulation, the whole shebang. And it's got the hardware to back that promise up. The launch version, they're calling it the Moab trim, is seriously kitted out. You get more than 9 inches of ground clearance, beefy 33-inch tires, and those super important steep approach and departure angles for getting over obstacles. It even has a dedicated rock mode for when things get really serious. So yeah, this is definitely not one of those soft roaders pretending to be tough. But you know, being a Jeep is also about the feel of it, right? And it seems like they've really tried to nail that classic open-air vibe while adding some smart, modern touches for the EV age. So, of course, you can take the doors off. That's a must. There's also an optional power-retracting roof. But check out some of the more practical stuff. There's this cool accessory rail on the dashboard so you can mount your phone or a GoPro. And because there's no big engine up front, you get a front trunk, for a little extra storage. It's a really nice mix of that old-school Jeep feeling with some new-school EV smarts. All right, so it's fast, it's super capable off-road, and it's got that classic Jeep look and feel. This is all sounding a little too good to be true, right? So what's the catch? Because let's be real, with EVs, there's always a catch. And here it is, the reality check. We're talking about 2 things that could be major deal breakers for a lot of people: the price and the range. Let's start with the sticker shock. The launch edition, that Moab trim we talked about, is going to start at $65,000. And that's before any fees. So yeah, we're firmly in premium SUV territory here. That is a lot of cash for any car, especially a Jeep. Now, to make things even more interesting, let's look at its own sibling, the Wagoneer S. For pretty much the exact same money, the Wagoneer S is actually a little bit faster, it's more luxurious inside, and this is the big one, it gets you about 60 more miles of range. So right away, you have this tough choice. Do you go for the ultimate off-road beast or the more practical, everyday performer? And that 230-mile range on the Moab, well, it really just comes down to physics. This thing is heavy. We're talking over 6,000 pounds. And just look at it. It's shaped like a brick with giant chunky tires. None of that is good for efficiency. It's built to climb mountains, not to slice through the air. And that really gets to the heart of the problem for any electric off-roader. 230 miles on the highway is one thing, but that number is going to drop like a rock when you're on a tough trail, far, far away from any charger. So, you've got this high price tag and this, let's say, compromised range. Where exactly does the Recon fit into the market? Is it possible Jeep built a super cool vehicle for a customer that doesn't really exist yet? But here's the flip side, and maybe its biggest strength.
Right now, there is literally nothing else like it on the market. If you look at other EVs in this price range, they're all about luxury, big screens, and on-road performance. The Recon is playing a completely different game. It's basically creating its own category.
So that's where we land. The big final question. Is the Jeep Recon the future of adventure? Is this the vehicle that's going to kickstart a whole new era of electric off-roading? Or is it just a really cool but ultimately flawed idea? A super expensive, niche toy that's held back by its limited range? It's a tough call, and I guess only time will tell.